So, I've been playing Persona 3 Reload. Surprisingly, it's available via Game Pass, which is perfect for me because I love Persona. I love, Atlas and the stuff that they're putting out. Big Persona 5 fan. And Persona 3, I had originally tried. I think I may have emulated it or something like that. I mean, it couldn't be me, but I had played one of the previous versions of this game. This is a complete remake where they took the graphics and completely overhauled them, redid the voiceover, a lot of the music and all that is just completely done for modern hardware, and it shows absolute beautiful trademark Persona gameplay with style and flash oozing and dripping from this one. I know you're a big fan of Persona 5. This game is fantastic. It has that in the day time, you're just, a student living their life, trying to establish relationships, go to class, level up your stats during the day, and then you go into this like tower labyrinth dungeon at night and try to battle monsters, summon your Pokemon like persona, and just unleash magic attacks and very flashy skills. And it's just that sweet Persona mix. I immediately went in asking myself the question, after playing Persona 5, is Persona 3 Reload gonna do it for me? It has roots in a much, older title. Could this be, my jam? And it just absolutely is. Like, the menus, the music, all the little subtle details are just so well done. And I need you to play this game. You never finished Persona 5, right, Adam?
Persona 5.
I didn't finish Persona 5.
Yeah, Persona 5 is one of those games where it's like, in my brain, I'm always like, I want to go back.
Yeah.
Because I loved my time with it, but it's so huge and daunting. What is the difference? So, I've only ever played Persona 5 out of the entire franchise. So is this like a Final Fantasy situation where each game exists independently? Is there any through line in the franchise? How does that work?
Megami Tensei is actually like the original name of the franchise, and then it branches off from this very dark, you summon personas and battle and like RPG style, which spun off into Persona, which really took it into this half you're kind of a youth in their school age, like with a real life that you balance along with your kind of crime fighting, like supernatural fighting with Persona's other side. So where you have like Shin Megami Tensei and all of this stuff going on in the main line, and then you have the Personas. So as soon as you get into that, okay, this is like half relationship sim and things like that, that's where you have the Persona series. So they always have the same themes, like personas are in them, where one way or another you're summoning these creatures that are your kind of like an inner like power and alter ego that break out and are able to help you fight in these like supernatural realms. So in Persona 3 Reload, you have your school life, your high school, I think it's high school, yeah, you're a high school student, and you are you are newly thrust into a school, like I think you are in 5, and you are befriending people that are also caught up with this power to fight back against the forces of evil, and you happen to band together, and they're already in the mix fighting people because 1 hour a night everything in the world just changes, and these monsters are able to wreak havoc on people and turn them into like zombies. And there's a specific area where you can go that is this it's a staircase that leads up to multiple floors of a labyrinth that you just fight through, and there's monsters in there, and they're like, we have to discover what's inside the Tartarus, which is what they call this big labyrinth, and you have to keep going up the floors, up the floors. This was originally a remake of Persona 3, which was also, they did another version that was played on the handheld, and it's really built around this very short play through, like pick up and play and then put it down styles. So you could do a couple floors of the dungeons and just stop and then save, and it's very forgiving. There's a lot of good quality of life in this game, like the fast travel in the overworld when you're going to school and visiting like different areas of the city and visiting shops. You can fast travel there quite quickly from like the menus, which in Persona 5 you actually had to like go and you unlock fast travel later. You could like ride the subway, and like it was a little more involved. This one really wants you to go there. It's like, oh, do you want to just go to that place right now? And it lets you shoot there. Do you want to spend the day, building a relationship with this friend that you made at school, and then unlock like stats that you can use in the actual fighting aspects of the game. So it's very much like Persona 5. It's just like a little more bite size, a little bit more quality of life there. But it's fantastic. The music, the menus, and everything like that, it just screams Persona 5 to me, which is why I'm like really falling in love with it. And because I can play on Game Pass, I could play from my Steam Deck while streaming Xbox game streaming xCloud to it. I can pick up and play on my Series X and get the full like graphic experience. And it's just like it's an amazing game. I can't If you know Persona at all, you kind of know what you're getting into. There's really no surprises. It's just more Persona. So if you're a fan, I highly recommend playing.
Obviously you haven't finished this one through, but does it feel like this one is as massive, or do you think it's a shorter, more condensed experience because it is coming from that portable
What's interesting,
foundation?
They have the whole concept of, in Persona 5, you go and unlock different areas to fight in the palaces, where you're meeting new nemesis and you're understanding kind of how they're wreaking havoc in the real world, and then you are getting into their psyche and going in and fighting them in their like alternate world form. And this is very much more simplified, where when I go into the Tartarus and I'm going up the stairs, up the different levels, you're really just fighting the monsters. There's not a whole lot of theme to it yet. The original dungeon on the handheld version that I played looked like trash compared to the beautiful, like stylized version that they have. This remaster, everything looks so sharp and modernized, but it is kind of bare. So it kind of looks like in the first, I think the first like 30 floors or something that I've fought through so far, it looks like, Beetlejuice, like when the Beetlejuice movies, where it's the spirit realm and then everything's kind of like twisted on its side, and it's just like warped and gothic, and it looks like that, which gives me a really cool like vibe. But the theming of the area where you're fighting, where it's just one location, you're just kind of always moving up, it's not very involved. There's not a whole lot of puzzles going on. There's not a whole lot of, because the palaces in Persona 5 were much more intricate. They were like heavily themed based on like who you're fighting and why, and that kind of ties in, whereas this is very much more basic. In the early game of Persona games, you don't have those deep connections because you build them up over hours of gameplay and conversation with your party and with the people that you meet in the game. So all of that's still to come, I think, is the falling in love with the characters.
Right.
But I do expect that I'll get there. I've already like made some pretty interesting characters. There's a really cool there's a stat boost as you make relationships with people in the real world, and one of the people you can interact with is someone that you meet online in an MMO. So it's like, do you want to play your
Ah,
MMO at your computer all day? And you log in and you're having a conversation with this girl, and she's just like, oh, I hate my job or whatever, and like talking to you and like just internet slang, and like I'm not sure like how
that's
old
funny.
this person is, but they're like, oh, I got so drunk last night. And like, you can ask them, be like, are you of age to drink? Or are you just like, like what, like just learning more about this person. And they're an avatar in an MMO. So their chat box is like all digital, and like you don't know who they are. They're like obscure, and you're building a relationship with a friend within an MMO. And it's just a very interesting way of doing that. And I wanted to log on and spend more time to learn more about this person and figure out like what's their deal, like what are they about. There's like an old couple that run a bookstore, and you start talking to them and learn about their life, and you're like, oh, this cute couple, like I wonder why they're sad. And they start talking about their son who passed and like all this thing, and then you could go and talk to them more and more. There's a kid who's trying to start a relationship with a teacher. Like in some of these Persona games, that's actually something that can happen, like whereas it's like kind of frowned upon in the West, but apparently like, in good old like Japan or whatever, it's like, I guess you can do it if you want. I don't know. But it's a high school kid, and he's all like, yeah, man, he's like, I'm gonna score with this teacher or whatever. And he's like, and you can have dialogue choices, and you're like, yeah, you got this, man. Go ahead, do it. And he's like, oh man, thanks. And like he just goes and like keeps trying to put the moves on her and stuff. And it's just like wild. And you just develop these relationships with all these characters in the world, and it's just fun. The daytime stuff is fun, like the nighttime combat and using the personas and casting magic and exploiting weaknesses of enemies is fun. It's all fun, and
Yeah.
it's great. It's a more Persona. So Persona 3 Reload is recommended. If you can do it on Game Pass, go for it.